Number two reason for not growing local things was to restore genetic dispersal. That is, due to fragmentation, genes are no longer moving through the landscape the way they once were, and so one of the most popular reasons for not growing local provenance plants of indigenous species was to sort of compensate for that lack of gene flow across the landscape. Now, does anybody on the panel have anything to contribute on that? Excellent, thank you, Mauricio.
So it's not only about preventing or trying to restore normal movement after fragmentation, but it also, in some extreme cases, and we've talked about clonality, trying to re-establish sexual reproduction altogether. And we've got a couple of examples that we worked with and one in particular is a rainforest species, whereby all the populations that were left, and this species is an Eleocarpus in northern New South Wales, this species actually has a fairly wide, geographically wide distribution. But because it favors rich lowland basaltic soils, in that area, most of the areas have been extensively cleared. And so as a result, every single site, and we tested this using DNA, every single site where the species remains is constituted by a single genetic individual, a single clone. Multiple stems, but single clones. Unfortunately, this particular species is also an obligate outcrosser. In other words, it needs two genetically differentiated individuals to produce a viable seed. So all those populations, we have done monitoring for quite a long time, all those populations produce sterile fruit, which still attract birds, but the birds are not able to disperse well, they disperse the fruit, but they're not, the fruit that are dispersed are not re-establishing natural population. And so what we did there is we brought together into sites all the single clones, all the 11 clones together into one site, and restarting this sexual reproduction that had been interrupted by clearing. And there are other examples that are like that, where it might not have been as dramatic as this, but where population diversity can be increased through those kind of processes.